Okay.
Okay. All right, so it is 8:30. This is the Board of Canvassers meeting to canvass, have a final canvass for the presidential preference primary use of the voting list. We have a quorum. We have Lori Craffey, who is our chairperson. We have Lori Anderson and Susan Chase, who are also board members. The staff in my office and I have been updating and maintaining the voting list for you. We have 198 inactive voters. Out to you, I don't know if you were able to peruse through them, but it's as boring as ever. The
Yep.
active voting list has 3,094 voters in it. That eventually, that number will come down. The more we're able to either find a death certificate because somebody's passed away, or get notification from a family that someone has left the area or passed away, eventually these numbers do get down. I think the realistic number is really 3,000, but this is 3,094 is what the voting list says. I was explaining to Lori before we went live that I've tried to get a good report for you of all of the deaths that we've removed since the last certification. And unfortunately, this new system that they have is not working well enough for me to get that. So you'll have to take my word for it that we are actively removing as we have death certificates given to us or the appropriate notification. We're trying to stay on top of that. There is what they call an ERIC program. That is a program that's used throughout multiple states so that we can share information. So if someone passed away, say, in New Jersey, if they are a participant in ERIC, we would get that notification. So little by little, the voting list is getting a lot more accurate than what it used to be. What I need from you ladies is a motion and a vote that you will accept the voting list as it is now for use at the presidential preference primary on June 2nd.
All right, can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the voting list as given to us by Carol for the upcoming election.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. When I have larger boards, I have to make sure that we do roll call, but I only have the three of you, so I can see all three answering in favor. Oh, I have, you know what? Let me admit these two and then we can go back.
Okay.
All right.
She's in a meeting right now.
Let's see, I don't see any microphones on either one of them, but, all right, let me see. Hi, Claudia, I'm sorry that I didn't see you earlier,
That's okay.
and I'm just waiting for, Penny to be able to get her audio up.
Okay. Carol, how do I take me out of the audio so you don't hear me?
I can mute you, but I'm just going to give you a synopsis of the 3 minutes that happened before I was able to get you in, because it was short and sweet, really.
Okay.
And I'll mute you now since you asked me to. All right. Oh, Penny wasn't able to get her audio on. At least I don't think she does. It's not showing it. Well, I don't know what Penny's gonna do because she doesn't have a microphone. Maybe she can hear me and I'm just unaware of it. So I'm gonna go on that assumption at this point. For Claudia and Penny's benefit, at 8:30, we called the meeting to order. And I reviewed the fact that my staff and myself have updated and kept the voting list as accurate as it can be at this point. I reviewed the fact that there are some problems getting reports out of the CVRS right now for deaths that have been removed. So I can't give you an accurate number because it won't give it to me at this moment. But rest assured that we have been staying on top of that, and we will continue to stay on top of that. There was just a motion that happened just before I let you in, Claudia and Penny, where they accepted the active and inactive voting list for use at the presidential preference primary on June 2nd. And that was a unanimous decision. At this stage, that primary should be predominantly mail ballot. And the ballots will go to, the applications will go to the Board of Elections. Board of Elections will then enter information into their system and scan those and send them to the Board of Canvassers through a secure Dropbox. And then we locally will have to enter the applications into the CVRS so that people will be able to get their ballot mailed to them properly. And then once all of that happens, the ballots get mailed directly to Board of Elections, and we don't have any more to do with it, other than the certification sheets. At this point, the certification sheets, they have allowed the clerk to just sign because it was difficult for so many across the state to get the board members to come in and sign. And so the last few, I just signed them myself instead of bothering you guys. We are going to have a big number of mail ballots to do. If you are desiring to actually sign the form itself and you don't mind coming out, I will let you know daily how many I have that need to be signed. We are only required once a week to do it, but I think if we get such a huge volume, we may need to do at least twice a week to sign those. So I will keep you posted through email, though, if I've got something that's available. I thoroughly understand if you're unsure with coming out and don't want to put yourself in that position. That, you know, you've got the out that they've allowed me to sign, that they've been certified. So that's really all I have at the moment, other than to remind you of that Thursday webinar that the Board of Elections wants to have. And they're going to talk about precautions that they're going to do for the mandatory one polling place we have to have for the primary. So I won't elaborate on that because they haven't enlightened me yet too much on that. Do you have any questions?
Okay. You were starting to mention that there may or may not be a problem at the gym.
Yes.
Do we have an alternate polling place in case?
Well, what would happen, and for the benefit of Claudia and Penny, if she can hear us, I think Penny finally got volume now, so I unmuted her.
Two.
Thank you. There's a beam in the gymnasium, or gymatorium, I guess they call it, that's shown some cracking. So they're going to have a structural engineer come and look at that to see whether it's a problem. If it's deemed to be a problem, that's in the gym itself. We still would be capable of using the common area for our polling location. It would just mean I'll have to have Board of Elections come down and document it's still handicap accessible, which it is. It's got the ramp and everything, so if we had to, we could use that area. There really isn't anywhere else that we can use. We would have the ability of using the town hall upstairs in the council chamber, but that would require people using the elevator to go up and down for handicap accessibility. If we have to cross that bridge, I will definitely let you all know what's happening, and we'll have to make a decision. But I'm hoping that the cracking that they're seeing is not structural and we'll still be able to use the gym.
Okay.
Okay? All right, ladies. Betty.
Oh, I just had a question, just being new. How long does it take for people to get on the inactive list?
That, a long time.
A long time?
You have to have not voted in 2 federal elections. And then after the second federal election that you don't vote in, without any activity in any elections, then we can move you to the inactive, and then it takes another almost 6 years to take you off of that. It's not an easy task to take people off the list. Yeah.
And are people not allowed to vote elsewhere if they're on our inactive list?
The thing is, so far, the country doesn't have a countrywide listing. So
Mhm.
until we get to a national level where everybody knows who's on each list, you never know. You know, so we very well have people probably on our inactive list that are in Maine and they're voting in.
Right. I saw a few that I know have moved away and thought, oh, probably voting
Yeah,
somewhere.
and
Yeah.
the thing is, if you see someone, whether it be on the active list or the inactive list, and you know those people personally, reaching out to them and saying, you know, you're still technically on our list. Would you write
Okay.
us and ask us to remove you officially? That type of action, an action from a Secretary of State from another state saying that someone is registered there. That ERIC program that I mentioned, that's a collaboration of not every state, but I think there's a half a dozen now. And that also gives us the ability, once that notification has been received, for us to take somebody off a list.
Mhm.
Particular notification is not just people that are registered somewhere else, but if there's a death, they'll notify us as well. So we're getting better at how we can move people off of the list, but you have to be very careful.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right,
And
any more
if people were to come in to vote and they were on that list, could they?
on the inactive? Yes.
Yeah.
If they come in and they're on the inactive list, they need to prove to us somehow that they're still at that location. And
Yeah.
true of the same identification requirements that we have for when you walk in the door anyways. So once they've done that, through whatever means that they can give to us, and they usually sign an affirmation form. Once they've done
Yeah.
that, they're allowed to vote.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so somebody could have been put on the inactive list, but was just lazy for a few years, and then they come in to vote, and they'll be removed once they've rectified whatever was missing.
Great.
Okay?
All right. Well,
All right. I think we're good. I don't see where anybody is asking to be heard. Any more questions or concerns?
Carol, can you stay on for a minute after everybody goes so I can ask you a question?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I just needed you to clarify.
Okay. That's no.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So
all right.
are we good?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, then,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you, Carol. You're awesome.
Stay safe.